This is Trinity Place, and my name is Cameron Miller, and this is a reflection for All Saints Day. Now, I'm guessing that everybody has a favorite holiday of some sort: Christmas or Easter, Thanksgiving, Groundhog's Day. Many of such holidays are linked to religious, or many such holidays link religious and secular celebrations like Easter and spring break, or Christmas and New Year's, or All Saints and Halloween. My two favorite are Thanksgiving and All Saints Day. Why these two? Probably for the same reason. They are a marriage of grief, nostalgia, and gratitude. Now, I am grateful to the Episcopal Church because we do not have big ass saints. I said big ass saints as in capital S saints. Unlike the Roman and Orthodox traditions, we have no way to declare an historic figure as miraculous and spooky. Thank goodness. That is such a political process anyway, and so absurd when history begins scrutinizing folks from church history, long declared a special mediator and advocate with God in heaven. Look no further than Saint Augustine to embarrass that process. Anyway, All Saints for us is about all saints with a small s, who have populated the earth over time, and most of whom were never recognized by history or institutions or anybody beyond those whom they touched. I was nurtured particularly by a woman named Pearl when my mother, for whatever reasons of family or psychology or character, was unable to bond with me in the way that Katie and I bonded with our children, and you probably bonded with yours. Pearl taught me how to love by loving me. As I got older, there were others who did the same thing. They taught me how to love by loving me. Wanda, Stu, Jean, Mary Helen, another Jean, Leroy, Ken, Mike, John. Without them, I would surely not be here today, figuratively and literally. And even with them, there were a couple of years that were touch and go. The church itself, in my life, taught me how to love by loving me. Now, community, authentic community, does that. It kind of forms a miasma of love in which we feel held, even though we do not necessarily know those who are loving us the way we know our family and friends. There's something in the wine, or more particularly the bread, that over time creates a palpable sense of being loved and cared for by a bunch of people who we might not otherwise know. I feel that and see that here at Trinity Place. There's no particular rational explanation for it, but a spiritual community becomes kind of a sainted place. I could go on and on about the people from whom I learned to love, those outside the bond of family in particular, and without whom I would be a lesser person. Most of them I knew through spiritual communities, but not all of them. Yet all of them had a spiritual practice I was able to witness in action, and a practice grounded in loving. So All Saints Day, for me, is just filled with nostalgia, mingled with grief and gratitude for the people that we love, but see no longer, as it says somewhere in the Book of Common Prayer. So the challenge, of course, is to think about who and how we can practice such love with those around us more and more and more. I think of it as an All Saints Day challenge, how to grow our hearts at least one size bigger. Honestly, I do not know how we can do that, grow our hearts a size bigger, without heart and legs rooted in a spiritual community. But that notion itself of community as essential ingredient is so un-American because it defies the idea of the individual. The whole, in this sense, is greater than the parts. And an individual outside of community begins to lose his or her or their ability to love robustly. Loving is a communal practice. It's how we learn. It starts in the womb of family, if our family is a loving womb, and continues in the warm arms of spiritual community. But we have to allow ourselves to become entangled with others who are seeking God, wisdom, and a practice to love more and better. It does not happen because of really good programs. It doesn't happen because of great worship. It doesn't really happen because of fantastic preaching. It doesn't happen because of delicious coffee hours. It happens when our lives touch one another and we get entangled, maybe even by accident. Then we find ourselves caring deeply about someone's brother we don't even know, or someone's cancer that isn't even talked about, or someone's struggle with addiction that goes on behind the public acknowledgement. Like I said, it defies rationality in some ways, but over time, without employing a grand strategy or planning for it, we find ourselves thinking about other people who aren't in our family, and wanting to make sure that they are well cared for. In other words, we find ourselves loving them. And then something weird happens. When we are with these people, somehow we begin to wonder how we could do more collectively for others. We start asking about how we could love better even those outside of the spiritual community. And somehow, without really planning it, when we are together, these strange and unrelated people in us grow in understanding about things we had wondered secretly. You know, stuff that before we were too uncomfortable talking about out loud. Somehow, we start to feel safe talking out loud about uncomfortable topics with these people who are not family and who we have come to love and who we're pretty sure love us. That's when we know that we've become a sainted community. It's when we know we have been plunged into a very long, deep river that travels over time and that is more consequential than we can possibly imagine. Somehow all of those saints who have loved and loved together over time in community were, if they were to disappear from memory and somehow be eliminated spiritually, the world of human beings would immediately fall apart and become the chaos we fear. All those saints and all that sainted community have done more to form humankind and done more to protect humankind and done more to sustain humankind over time and history than we can possibly imagine. But now it has fallen upon us, those who love and allow ourselves to be loved in community, to keep it going. It has fallen upon us to grow our hearts a size bigger and love a little wider and love a little further and love a little bolder and love a little more generously than we have loved so far. That's the All Saints Day Challenge. Be a saint in a sainted community and keep it moving across time and history into the future. The future, according to the visions in Isaiah and the book of Revelation, has always been about a time without death, a time without tears. The future is a time without decay of body and a time without separation from those we love and who loved us. That's their vision. Well, I don't know if we'll ever get to such a time, but until we do, we have all saints, to remember the ones who loved us and whom we love still. And to more and more and more be such people of love for one another and for those who are beyond the bounds of our spiritual communities. That's All Saints' Day. Happy All Saints' Day to you, and to those you have loved and who have loved you. Peace be with you.